3, 2, 1. All right.
That does
That's
not
it.
get old.
All right. So you're the first official guest after our new intro.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And you're the first guest that's been on twice.
Heck yeah. All right. I dig that.
I was just like, have you been watching The Price all day?
I've been checking in on it every once in a while. I've been watching it kind of go up.
Yeah. It's still doing it. It's
Oh,
at
wow.
it's at 0.003184.
Oh, wow. Good.
It's some
And that,
pretty.
oh, go ahead.
I was to say it's just it's got some pretty significant movement, even though we're only talking about a tenth of a cent. But you know,
Right?
hey, that's
Oh,
better than going down a few tenths of a cent.
right. Is that just based on the announcement with the the commercial?
Well, actually, if you pull up the graphs for BNB and Bitcoin, it looks almost identical. So
Okay.
they're doing pretty good, I guess.
Nice. Okay.
It's the hardest aspect, I think, of Titano for me to accept, psychologically that we're tied to these things. In my head, I'm like, well, why? Why are we tied so inexplicably to it? And it's just like you think like they're separate projects. You would have people in them that are unique and different and maybe not even involved in all the others, and you think if you believe in it, then what's the problem, and yet it's like no matter what you think about the project, no matter how beautiful it looks in your eyes, the second BNB and Bitcoin go down, up, or sideways, it's like watching. You ever get like you drive out in the country and there's thousands of birds, they're just sitting on the live wire, and when one leaves, phew, they all get up and go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like those what antelope or would they kind of let each other know and then they all just start running.
Yeah.
Um, I I mean I know why we're tied heavily to it because we're tied to BNB and BNB is kind of it follows everything else in a sense from what I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, I mean,
So
it looks like a mirror copy of Bitcoin's graph.
yeah, yeah. But I like seeing the reversal there.
Yeah. Yeah. In case anyone hasn't seen, I wonder how easy it would be for me to share. So if I can share the screen. Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's tell me if my voice cuts out when I share this.
Okay.
So yeah, there it is. Can
No,
you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
Let's pull
That
up. Shoot, let's pull up. We'll look at BNBs too, and Bitcoin. Am I grabbing the right one?
so with
Where's the? What is this?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. The BNB that's at 232 is probably the one you want.
I don't see it. It says load 7 more. Why would the real one be buried like this?
It depends on that's a question for smarter people, but I'm pretty sure that there's definitely like offshoots and different things that are using kind of the same thing. I
Huh?
would if and just as a suggestion, like I use even though I try not to use Coinbase as much, I use their charts for a lot of things because they even have Titano on Coinbase as far as something you can track.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Um,
On
you're gonna
Coinbase.
get a yeah. you're gonna get a better chart with the what you were using, but like, do you have an account through Coinbase?
Uh, I do, but it's not set up on
Yeah. Oh, you
this
can still type
computer.
it in.
So let's see.
There you go.
Yeah, 232. But here, let's what it was. This is looking at the. Well, they don't have a 15-minute one.
They don't.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Does Binance have one? Oh, I can't check. I'm using my phone to talk to you.
You know who's got a pretty good chart? I know we're burning up airtime doing this kind of stuff, but hey, I don't have an agenda.
No, as long as I get to bed by midnight, I'll get 8 hours of sleep still.
How much time do you got?
I got a few hours.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like these graphs on the Bybit, but let's see. There we go.
Yeah, that's a good chart. I like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So let's see. I bet it's going to look identical to this.
Hmm. Very similar.
Yeah. Matter of fact, though, this looks like it's going down a little bit more significantly than ours is. Eh, about the same, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still trying out my new system. I got 3 monitors hooked up now.
Yeah. By the
And
way, that's a beautiful system.
yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm glad, that I always wanted to do this, but I needed a reason to do it. It's kind of hard to justify three screens and all this other stuff for I got like my own little movie studio here now.
Well, the screens come in handy for business too. I mean, like I've been using it for um, what's it called? Charts in one, or not charts, but inventory sheets in one, and message board to talk back and forth with my mom, and then the other one was just kind of I had Discord on it pretty much
S-
24/7.
Speaking of your mom, you told me that you were in the process of thinking about your future in terms of business ownership
Hmm.
and how you were tied to a project that your mom's working on. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, you sent me some pictures of a major purchase, which was a food truck. And and I thought to myself, oh wow, talk about like jumping in with both feet. Why don't
I
you
don't
tell
do
us?
anything half-assed.
Why don't you
Uh,
tell us what you're up to?
all right, so that kind of started. Remember our conversation on the first video where I said that, I mean, part of my goal was not only to be investing in stocks, but then to diversify and then end up having my own business so I can then, bring in other forms of income and,
Yeah.
then start buying houses and move into real estate that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't say that, that was kind of my plan. That's been my plan. That's the whole reason I started investing. So over the course of the last couple of years, I've been working my way up to saving money to either buy my first house or to start a business. And, after talking to you that day and then some other comments that were made on the Discord and talking to my friends and my brothers, and it was like, why would I start a whole new business when, I mean, the last I heard, like, I'm still part owner in my mother's business.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't necessarily been like profitable yet, but she's doing well. I mean, she's gotten herself to a point where she's bottling. She has uh, label makers. She's putting labels on the bottom or on the bottles, and is about to sign a deal with Safeway for like 150 stores.
That's pretty significant.
That is significant. But, and this isn't any kind of like, I don't want to put any rose color or covered like goggles on here or anything like that. Like my mom and I have our issues, and we've gone back and forth the last 6 years about how things should be done, and that's just kind of how family goes. But
Uh-huh.
uh, I came up to her when I was talking to you about it, and I was like, "Listen, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I want to do. Essentially, like, let's put your money where your mouth is, and if you want me to be part owner of the business and do something, let's do a division of labor so we don't step on each other's toes, and then let's just go for it." uh, and then she looked over because I sent her kind of a business like layout or business I forgot the proper term for it right now, but um
Come on, look at that beauty.
oh, if you guys want to see it, I can take a walk outside right now.
Oh yeah, you can take a walk inside of it.
Yeah, if you want to go.
Okay, that beats this picture, I guess, doesn't it?
I'm hoping. Let's see if I have enough light left outside because it has shore power, but it's not hooked up right now. Oh, oof, that is dark. We'll see what I can do. Uh,
So, what kind of challenges you 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 know what do you have with your mom? Is it like you just both headstrong, or and can you
yeah,
both?
so it's a 32-foot bus.
That's pretty big.
It's massive. It was so much fun driving it.
It looks like it's daylight over there.
It is. It's just becoming like dusk.
That's crazy because it's 9:30 over here. It's pitch black.
It's 9:30 here too. That's the funny part about all that. But yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Well, our
and then
time is never adjusted here. It's always the same in Arizona, at least
yeah,
where
I
I'm
think
at.
this is going to be the first year where we don't go back. So you and I should always be on the next
Uh huh.
are on the same time from now on. I think.
What year is that vehicle?
2001.
Uh huh.
Let's
We're
see if
going
there's enough.
inside.
Yes, sir. Uh, can you? Is that is way too dark? Let me see if
This.
I can't get some light on that.
Yeah.
Uh, that's not much better. All right, I'm gonna answer the headstrong question while I work on some better lighting. Um, yes, essentially we we both have a vision and we both want to see success, and so that's never been an argument.
Mm-hmm.
But we I Doug. But we don't always see eye to eye on the um
Who's
what's it
the
called?
who's going to be the operator? I mean, mostly the full time. Is it going to be your mom?
Both of us. So
So, are you saying that you're going to quit your job, or are you going to do both?
I'm gonna do both. We're working out a way I can uh where we can do every other day,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, that way I can still do my Friday Sundays with caregiving, and then until we've turned enough of a profit to
Sure. Yeah. Cut it loose.
yeah to because I mean I that's all I've done all day is DMV and excuse me, I'll bring this back too, by the way. Is DMV and then tour food trucks,
Uh huh.
and
Yeah. You getting all your licensing squared away?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were hoping because the previous owner had just gotten it licensed and registered through um, the our county. That was the lucky part. It was even our county as far as the health registration, and so we were hoping they could just transfer it. But I'm finding out that that is not the case.
No. Of course not. They need your money, pal.
Yeah, it's about $1,700.
Yeah. Yeah. When I had to get a limited manufacturer's license, and all I'm doing is bottling honey, and so they had to rake me for almost. I think it was probably about the same, about $1,500 the first year. Now it's Yeah, I don't know, around 300 a year.
Um, yeah, yeah, that's about what it. I mean, I think it goes down to 600 and something, but then I think the initial cost is like 1790 or something like that.
Uh huh.
But that was kind of what I came to her with. Is like, let me turn you a profit, or at least try. I mean, I'm going to. Here's what I'm going to do, and she was looking at a food truck already, and I was like, if this one doesn't work out, let me look for some, see if I can't find one. And things just started falling into place really quickly. And then that way she can work on the bottling aspect. We're both going to end up running it until we can hire somebody, and then from there out we'll be administrative and trying to figure out more ways to expand and make it bigger.
Well, this sounds exciting. I mean, what kind of venues are you going to be doing? You got something set up already, or a couple
Uh,
things?
well, so my brother-in-law works for a what's it called? Like a tech company, and
Uh huh.
they have around 290 people, give or
That's
take,
nice. Yeah.
a day. And he's like, well, if you let me talk to him, I can probably get you into the or get you in there, and then you'll have at least 290 people a day to possibly sell the food to.
Yeah, for maybe like breakfast and lunch.
Yeah,
Right.
I they have designated food cart areas um, around, and so I'm thinking more stationary just to be able to get like a repeating customer.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily sure. I've toured a couple today, but I was made very aware of the of like you got to open with them and close with them, and it's like, well, what if we wanted to change our like our schedule and it doesn't match what they're doing, or what if that's just kind of what customers dictate, but they're already established, so like cart areas.
Yeah. What's the menu going to be? What are you guys going to be
M-
specializing in?
Mediterranean food. So have you ever had dolma, like either a rice wrapped grape leaf or grape leaves
Yeah.
with stuffed with rice?
Oh, sure.
So definitely a lot of the kebabs. I tried to have most of this done before, but it was a lot lighter out. Uh, Kebabs. She has a whole salad menu. All right, finally.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That thing's
There,
huge.
it's massive. Like
And it looks like you got some AC in there too.
no AC yet, but that's coming. That's
Is
definitely
that
going to come.
what's on the roof there? Is that just a vent of some kind?
Yeah, it's a massive hood. If it was a little lighter out, I would be able to um,
Well, it
kind of.
looks like you already got a few orders too.
Now that came with the try.
What's it say on those tickets?
Nothing. They're just regular.
Oh, okay.
Like
They're just wait. You're waiting for your first orders.
right, right.
That's
So yeah,
and can you stand up in there without hitting your head?
barely.
And
I am standing all the way up right now, but like,
you're raking the top there.
yeah, like I
How
can
tall are you?
6'4".
Oh, 6'4", man. No, jeez. You have to have that thing extended.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe the next one. I have some really cool marketing ideas that I want to do with it, and kind of tour the country. And since I'm doing a lot of snowboarding too, like it'd be really cool to take it up, be able to hire some employees to run it for me while I'm snowboarding, and then kind of shovel people towards the truck.
Uh huh.
Uh, or do the same thing that I did with Titano and have it's Basha Products is the name of the company,
Hmm.
and so it'd be kind of cool to have a Basha board.
They have a supermarket here called Bosch's. Some people say Bashes, but that's the name of the store. It's a pretty big chain too.
Huh.
Hmm.
I wonder. I wonder if they're like kind of Southwest Asia, that area.
I don't know. Do you have a website already?
Facebook right now. Money has been hindering us on that one.
Hmm.
So,
Well, this. So, I mean, are you excited about this, or what?
I
How,
am
what?
so stoked.
Uh,
I am so stoked. Like, this is, I mean, for my mom, this has been, she's been trying to get something going for years.
hmm.
And her, I mean, her biggest, her biggest goal was getting me on board, then getting, and then getting profitable. And it's finally kind of, I can see it coming together and I'm super excited to help it happen. I'm,
Hmm.
this is all I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I mean, that and caregiving. So,
Hmm. Well, I'm real excited for you. I mean, I think these are the. I think entrepreneurism is the leverage everybody is really looking for, but sometimes you don't have somebody in your life to push you in that direction. But I mean, it's a real liberator.
that's agreed. And that push is what my mother and I are starting to learn what works with each other and what more hinders our goals.
Hmm.
And I mean, you know, like I
Just
said, it
try
has,
try a lot of different things. Don't get stuck on a one way direction just yet. You try a lot of different things and you see what works best.
I agree. I agree. And that was kind of what I wanted to, that's what I was texting you about originally is like, what's worked for you? I just wanted to listen and get ideas and share, I guess is kind of,
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that really worked for us was is that I just listened to um, I listened to my I don't know what you'd want to call it, my inner self or whatever it is that you want to talk about, But I mean, like when I first started doing this, I was in farmers markets, and really
yeah,
what I found was is that it was a trap, because there were many months out of the year, and I'm talking about probably most of the months, where you're sitting around, and in
mhm,
my head, sitting around doing nothing, you're not making money. And,
right.
I wanted to leave, and I got a little bit of resistance from people saying that the common consensus was just that you'd be stupid to leave because you lose your place and the setup, and you wouldn't be allowed back in, and that without them you're nothing. And I sat down after hearing that, and I was thinking about it, and I was just saying, I don't know, man, this seems crazy. I'm just thinking to myself, and I just I sat around for a little while longer, and there was nobody there. It was like 2 hours with not a single person, and I thought, you know what, I'm out of here. I just started folding everything up, and I went threw everything in the truck, and I went and sat up on the side of the road here in town, and I made over $500 for the rest of the day. And that was it, man. That was the start of everything, and it was just thinking outside the box, not necessarily listening to conventional wisdom, and just really following my instincts, which my instincts were is that I needed to go where there were people. For
Right.
I mean, if
Right.
you're gonna sell something, there needs to be bodies. And
Yeah.
so so I just picked the busiest road I could think of and threw up a tent and a table and a chair, and it worked.
Well, now that I'm not running around trying to find lighting for this thing, I can think and talk a little bit better. Let me tell you a little bit of a story.
Yeah.
There, this was sparked from something you told me. Because I mean, granted, now I'm not trying to take the credit from my mother because she had already. I didn't know this, unbeknownst to me. She had already put a a loan offer in, and she had texted me that night that I had texted you,
Hmm.
like because this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Like like this is what I was thinking, and I was like, well, I need somebody to bounce the idea off of, and I'm not quite sure I want to bounce it off my mom just yet. Um, and so I had because I was thinking about it. I was like, man, if I could just bring her a profit, most of the arguments that we've ever had would go away.
Uh huh.
Uh, And how am I going to do that? And then it started with your comment about how you just went and started selling things on the side of the road. I was like, well, I could do that. I mean, I'm physically able and I have things that I can set up that I could physically go and do that for a couple
Hmm.
days out of the week.
Yeah.
And I was like, it'd be really nice to have a food truck I could just park on the side of the road. And that's
Yeah.
how that thought process evolved. And so because originally I had told her no, she had asked for my social to go on the loan as a cosigner. And I was like, I don't know. And then, like I said, after talking to you and after some of the thoughts that I was having, it was like, no, that is smart. Let's do that. And so I sent her my social security number and was like, yeah, put me on as a cosigner. Furthermore, I'm going to come to you with something here in a couple of days and I want to go over it with you. And was going to talk to you about it. And then I was thinking about it and thinking about it. And I was like, I don't need to be waiting on it. This is a good opportunity. If we can come out of this on top, then it wouldn't, having your own business is never a bad idea. And then we found this, and she had, I'm doing this on a very like crazy small budget. We had about $40,000 left. We got this for 32 and bought it outright.
Yeah.
So we got about $7,000 left, and I still got to stock it with food. I still got to get the inspection done. It's licensed and registered now, so that's good.
Let me show you a small budget. Hang on just a second here.
Roger that.
That's a small budget right there. I started my operation with about $212,
Okay.
and that's basically what you got, you know. And so, like what you're starting out with would be like a dream come true. I could never even conceive of something like that for a startup. So you're in a really, I'm excited because you know you're going to be able to do it right. And you know, I think there was later on after a few years, we built us a little trailer that was more like I don't know, like you ever see those old wagons like in the Western stories, you know, where they
Hmm.
pull up to town, open up the side, and table flops out, and
Yeah.
they sell their wares, you know. So that was us, but you know, we didn't have AC, we didn't have nothing, you know, and it was like you know 115, 120 degrees in there, and so I tell you. I got two, you know, just two things that go through my mind, you know, with what you're saying is one, your mom already has some kind of experience with this, right?
Yes. She's been, I mean, this business has been open for 7 years.
Uh-huh. That's good.
Um, mhm.
So she has a
uh,
customer base.
no, that's kind of where I'm coming in because, like, my mom's an amazing human being and she has a good heart. She's just not very good with people.
Oh,
So,
well,
um,
I guess if you're going to
she
sell, s- s- yeah, so that's going to be your job.
that pretty much that's like she like I mean, and it's not that she I don't know. It's. I was trying to discuss it with her earlier today, and because I think she took it a little too much to heart what I was saying, and I didn't mean it more as a. I don't know. I think it came off more disrespectful than I meant it, or and we're still discussing because this has been a conversation throughout all 32 years of my life.
Uh-huh.
But like uh, I don't know. There's there's certain things that her and I are excel at, and
Take the
I
lead in the areas where you're stronger, and
right,
I guarantee you she'll probably let you do it, you know. And you know, you do the same. And there from
right,
there you'll find your way.
and we work well together, and that's not a problem either. Like I said, like I know her intentions are good, and I know that her dreams and her ambitions are really pure. They really are. It's just
Well,
how does she communicate them? So
that's all that matters, brother. You know,
right,
we're not all the
right,
best communicators. I've heard that all my life. You know, where people don't like the way I say something. They don't think that I explained it long enough or said it nice enough, you know. And
right,
I mean, you know, in the end, my friend, you know, I think it matters what you do. And, I think what you say versus what you do speaks volumes. And sometimes, some people are just a little cranky, and some people are just, they're just that way. But like you said, they got a heart of gold. I think you just have to go with that. And you say, hey, good. At least they've got that, because what if they were monsters?
Right.
You
And
know?
and some of this is also the whole thing, she's my mom and I'm her son, and there's always going to be a little bit of that in there. So, we
Uh-huh.
just got to push through and keep doing what we need to do.
Yeah, you'll find your rhythm.
Hmm.
You're a good kid, so I have no doubt. That you'll do
Well,
it. And
yeah, I mean, after you
sometimes,
said that, I'm gonna save this link and send it to her. So,
look, sometimes you just have to, you can recognize where, if you say, look, if you feel like you're the right person, you just step up and take the lead there, and just go with it. And that kind of energy is pretty hard to stop.
right,
So sometimes you don't ask, you just do.
right, and that's, I mean, it's her money right now, so I'm doing a lot more asking than I would normally do because I don't want to um I don't want to do something that she isn't 100% on board with either. So,
Hmm.
but there is a lot of debate. There is a lot of debate.
Hmm. Well, you could always say, you just say, if you guys can't come to an agreement on something, say, well, we'll try both things and see what happens. And that's it. I mean, because ultimately, in the end, what you want is what's best for the business, right? So why are you gonna?
Absolutely.
It wouldn't make any sense to stick with something that's not working as well as something another idea. So
I agree.
it takes the personal aspect of it out, because if you're just thinking about the needs of the business, that's what's most important.
Agreed. Agreed.
And I think that's, like, from our business, that is the thing that is just always taken center stage. Where our egos and those kinds of things are not even a part of the picture. And that's the way it has to be.
Yeah, and if at some point if she has time, because I know kind of she's been involved in every step of this whole thing,
Hmm.
and she's also involved in getting all the stuff figured out for her for what's going to happen with Safeway. And I think, but I'm sure she'd probably love to talk to you and pick your brain on a couple things.
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, what's your plan? Let's say she does get accepted into Safeway. That's a lot of work. Are you going to be able to do the roadside and uh, the stores?
That's kind of part of what it's going to be a lot of work. Like I'm not blind to that at all.
Hmm.
I've done it before. I can do it again. As far at least this time it's for me,
Yeah.
and for the company, but I mean my family.
Hmm.
But
And would everything
I,
be done in the truck there? Or all the food prep would be there, not in a separate kitchen?
yeah, that this is classified as a class 4 kitchen,
Uh
so
huh.
we can do raw meat. We can cook anything we want. Has a clean water tank down here with
Hmm.
water pump and heater, and then there's a gray water tank below it, so we can run anywhere. It has its own fuse box to run lighting and everything all the way down it. Propane tank on the back to run the grill and the fryer.
Do you have, like, a start date in mind with this thing?
I'm I'm trying to bulldoze my way through it pretty quickly. I'm trying to get open by the end of next week.
Really?
Yes. I mean, that was why I put so much of a push in today. Today was DMV DEQ getting this registered. I'll be calling the health services tomorrow. See, I mean, that's where my holdup might be, because if they're not available until like month after next, then I have to wait until they're ready.
What kind of temperatures are you guys experiencing in the day?
Today we got up to 93, I believe.
You better get an air conditioner in that thing, brother.
That's going to be one of my first purchases.
Yeah. I mean,
Every
holy moly, you're gonna be
yeah.
cooking in there.
Oh, dude, it got hot just driving it from here to DEQ
Hmm.
today.
Are you
This
gonna
was
install that yourself, or you have that professionally done?
if well, I don't know. I was actually thinking about getting one of the like the portable units with the hose that sticks out, just sticking it right out the driver's side window over here,
Uh huh.
and then having it just blow straight into the back.
There's these units. They're called split air, um,
Hmm.
and I've installed 4 or 5 of those in my buildings, and they're really something else. They're done by like Mr. Cool is one of the
Okay.
operators or manufacturers, and it has a condenser that sits outside, like on some tray or something. They would have
Okay.
it outside. That's the fan, and then on the inside is the blower unit, and they have models that operate on normal power requirements. Like you could run a, a generator and just plug it right in, and it does a really good job. I think all the way up to like 12,000 BTU. So,
Okay.
and they're only like, I don't know, $1,500. So it's not that expensive.
Not at all.
Something to look into.
I'm definitely.
I use them extensively. As I said, I got like, I think 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, this is yeah. Especially if she ends up, because right now I don't think there's anything on the menu that uses a fryer. It just kind of came with this.
Hmm.
But now that she has it, I'm sure that something will arise that
I'm
that needs
sure
a
it
fryer.
will. People like their French fries. They like their
Yeah.
onion rings.
Well, that's the cool thing is she wants to, even though she wants it to be like a mainly like Egyptian Middle Eastern like food, she wants to do. I mean, part of the slogan is where diversity lives, I
Hmm.
believe, and then some of that means in the in the culture, but also it also means like she wants to be able to have different types of foods and not just be limited to
Yeah.
one thing. And she I just saw a video for a giant like mozzarella like cheese stick. I was like, that fryer would be perfect for that.
Yeah. We I took my family out to IHOP for breakfast this morning, and it actually did order some mozzarella sticks and they were really good, I have to say.
Oh man, I love those things.
Hmm.
And the spaghetti sauce really, I'll have to mail you a bottle or two or five, but it it really goes well with that kind of stuff. The only thing we haven't tried it in yet is we wanted to try and make a lasagna with it. Never got around to doing that.
Uh huh. Do you guys so you have your own spaghetti sauce? I mean, and what size bottles is it in?
Let me run outside and show you.
I was wondering if we should put it on our website.
So that was something I wanted to bring up to you too. Is like in the what's it called? The conversation I was having with Wayne and I can't remember his name. We started talking about a kind of making a what's it called?
Oh, some kind of like you wanted to do like a online store of some kind?
Well, kind of like it was piggybacking off of Paul's idea and Mochi, come on. And but instead of it doing like an online store, it being a marketplace where stores like you or my mom or I and or small businesses can kind of petition to Titano
Uh huh.
and Titano ending up becoming a Amazon in its own sense, but accepting Titano as payment.
Hmm.
And I was like, the only thing is I'm not smart enough to code like that. And that's when Win stepped in and he's like, I would be willing to do it.
I think your biggest challenges with things like that is the cost of shipping your product to
Yeah.
the fulfillment house, whatever that turns out to be. Is it just for the terms of conversation? We're talking about Titano fulfillment house now,
Right.
unless he can figure out a way with his coding skills to they take the orders, get a percentage, and then it's just sent directly to us the information, and we ship it from where we're at. That would probably be the best way to do it, but that would take some kind of coding on his end, and like we use a Shopify platform, so there might have to be some kind of integration there. So I don't know, they'd have to figure it out, but I think your idea could work.
It
Um,
was. I don't want to take the credit for that. That was definitely a everybody in the chat on that day's idea.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to switch my camera around so that way I can show
Yeah,
you
I
the.
think of course, we come up with the ideas, but somebody has to implement that stuff. Oh, those are nice looking bottles.
Yeah, the
And how do you? And so, what is that? Is that a wax seal or is that just a heat shrinking tube?
heat shrinking seal, and then there's a screw on the top under it.
And so, where is all that currently made now?
So my mom had her apartment, her kitchen,
Hmm.
uh, like registered and
Yeah,
what's it
cottage
called?
industry. It's a cottage industry.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
she could do it out of her kitchen, but um, that is, I
That's
mean,
not going
if
to work for 150 stores.
yeah, I mean, this thing only has two burners, and she's going to bring the other two burners from her house just so that way there's enough to do it. And what's probably going to end up happening is we're going to have to pick a few days where her and I open this thing from open to close, and then spend the evening just cooking. Um,
Do you, this deal with Safeway now? Have you guys already talked about price and agreed on that, and the deal is set, or is this something that's still ongoing?
a bit of both. Like price has definitely been discussed. She has a set price for that works in the stores for
Hmm.
her. Right now, from what I understand, what's getting held up is the final okay for them to make the purchase order to purchase it
Hmm.
all and then distribute it. And that was kind of where the thought came in of like, well, mom, that's fantastic, but we don't have a customer base, so like we
Well,
need to.
you probably will though with that store. I'm sure going to move a lot of product.
That's the hope.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting when you think about the kinds of places you should sell your products. And so I'm in the honey business. And, one of the things that I got, one time what was happening is years and years and years ago, the missus was pregnant and she was out on the road selling and, working right up until like, the ninth month.
Mhm.
And I was on my way to see her because some sheriffs wanted us out of there, and so I had left where I was going to see the missus, and I was just passing a hardware store, Ace Hardware, and just something my hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and I said, you know what, I need to go in there and talk to them, and so I went into the Ace Hardware and I talked to the owner over there, and I just fumbled my way through some horrific salesmanship, if that's what you want to call it. And he stopped me, and he made it real easy. He's like, "Hey, look, you got anything on the truck right now?" And I said, "No, but I can in the morning." And so he says, "Yeah, just come in and let's bring something in. We'll set it up and see how it goes."
Mhm.
And that was the first Ace Hardware store that we were in. Now we've got over 50. And so it turned out to be, this is where thinking out of the box is important. Probably most people would think that selling honey in a hardware store is a lot like trying to sell a tuba in a florist shop.
Right.
But actually, it turns out that the Ace Hardwares are our best customers by far and move an enormous amount of honey like you would not believe.
Wow.
So
Huh.
you might want to go talk to your, if you have Ace Hardware out there. Do you have Ace Hardware?
There's one, and it's not far from me.
You should go talk to them because they're independent owners, and so they can make decisions like that on the fly.
Okay.
And yeah, and might be very surprised just how much product you move through those stores. So, don't get thinking like, oh, it can only be in grocery stores and it only has to be this kind of store. No, sir.
Huh.
Hmm.
I will. I will. I'm gonna. I'll let you know how that works out. I'm gonna try that.
A lot of people are shocked when I tell them. And matter of fact, it was the hardware stores that got us off the roadside and into manufacturing full time.
Okay.
So,
Like, huh. Yeah,
hmm.
you would never think. Not in a million years would I have thought, yeah, I'm gonna go sell food at this hardware store.
Most of our stores, they purchase anywhere from $500 to $1,500 worth of product a few times a month.
Wow.
So, and we
Are they
even have
helping you?
stores.
are you having to go there and like demo your product, and or did you
No.
just demo it to the?
I mean, we have done that, but we don't do that on a regular basis. Yeah, I show up with a shopping cart full of product and just throw it right in there, and I give it to them, give them an invoice, and they do the rest.
That's really cool. Huh. I'm gonna have to go try that.
Yes.
Because
So,
that was the whole reason I have these bottles. It was just kind of like so I could go and try different places. But as you get into the grocery stores, it's like, well, no, our distributors deal with this. Okay, well, then
yeah.
you go talk to the distributors. Well, no, we don't actually deal with getting it on the shelf. We just deal with getting it to the stores. Well, yeah, I know that, but that's where I was told to go, and like for a second, we had it in Kroger, uh, in a lot of the what are called Fred Meyers up here at Smith's or Rayleigh's over with you and I think Publix,
Hmm.
but that was only because my I had made a really good friend. He was pretty high up in the company, and so he talked to who I needed to talk to get us in the stores. But that only lasted a few months until it didn't show a positive profit for him, and they were like, "No, we got to pull it. I'm sorry."
Another idea for you, you might want to just contact Ace Hardware, their distribution facilities, and see about having them fulfill the product. So you just send shipments like on pallets through freight,
Mm.
LTL freight, and you just ship it to their warehouses, and they distribute it to the stores. And they have a system all set up for that, and but you have to set up your system the way they want you to set it up,
Right.
and that's going to take a little bit of fine tuning. But if you have a computer, it shouldn't be a problem. And what your price point's going to be your biggest challenge.
Right. That's that. I mean, that has been a problem, and I still have a lot to learn. Because a lot of this, like I I did with her to originally set up through the Kroger stores, but each store has its own unique way of how they want to accept freight or do what they want to do. So,
I try to keep things simple, but sometimes it's not in our hands, But I try to keep it like in my control most of the time, and because you have to think about how you're going to do this. The thing is like you got to kind of think this through because you have to make sure that one, you're able to, if you're going to get 150 stores, are you able to source all your materials that you need, and what
that we're lucky on. We have all that already.
and the other thing is realistically, have if you how much time do you physically have to be present to fill those jars, label them, and get them ready? Because that could be really significant. If it's just two people, you may have to bring on some people. Then of course your pricing really takes a different turn.
Mm. And that was the rush in doing this, and that's when now you're starting to see why I moved as fast, and I'm continuing to move as fast as I am because if I can get this thing open within the next week, well, they're still twiddling their thumbs and figuring out how they're gonna and what they're gonna order. And from what my mom was saying is they were saying it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months before they actually place the order.
How are you
Um,
like some of the things you want to think through is like what is like the actual mechanical action that's needed to fill these jars? Like, are you going to have a big giant vessel with a pouring spout on it?
so
How are you going
that's
to
yeah,
actually
that's
do
how we
this?
did it. That's how we did it for Kroger. Is it was myself, my mother, and two other friends. And it took almost 13 hours. We got there at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and we're there until almost 1, 2 o'clock in the next morning or something like that.
How many jars
Uh,
did you have to fill?
oh, hundreds. Yeah, there was a lot. And so we kind of did it as a fire drill in a sense. As my
Uh-huh.
mom did the cooking with one of my friends, and I did the labeling because the label maker. It was just it's more technology than my mom wanted to deal with. So so I dealt with that, made sure the labels got on perfectly, so that way they didn't fold or look a nice presentation.
Hmm.
And then the other friend that we brought was doing all the shrink wrapping with a heat gun, and we got a while we were finishing up the bottles and while the next vat was warming up because it was a big, like it was massive. While that was warming up, that was kind of my mom's turn to take a break with what my other friend, and as we finished up the labeling and the shrink wrapping at the top, that was kind of our turn to take a break because the vat wasn't quite ready and done yet,
Hmm.
and that's her biggest thing is she's been trying to get a kitchen, like an automated. They make automated kitchens that will help. You just give them the recipe, they'll multiply it out with their algorithms to whatever size
Hmm.
they need to cook it all the same and bottle it all. But they couldn't guarantee freshness, and she did not want to sacrifice freshness of her product. And I don't blame her.
Well, I mean, with something like this, it's got to have preservatives in it anyway,
It
right?
it doesn't. The only thing it has in it is the citric acid to have the
Uh-huh.
shelf life, and then it has a 1 year shelf life. That
I
is the
see.
only thing
Hmm.
um, that's in it, and that's natural.
Hmm. Now you
Uh,
piqued my interest. I want to. I have to. You got to find a way for me to so I can purchase a couple bottles. So I may want to have. May want to do something here. We've always wanted to have a sauce. Another thing that you might want to think about here. Okay, do you know what private labeling is?
yes, we've heard of that.
Okay,
Um,
so guys like me who want to have, we have our own branding, but I would love to have like a sauce, let's say, but I'm going to buy them from you without labels. I put my label on it, and you sell it that way, and we do that with our honey too. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people, you can get a lot of sales this way, because you're dealing with people who already have routes established, they already have systems in place, and they just buy your product from you with no labels. And it's so fast and easy. Man, it's easy money.
I'm gonna send this link when we're done here to my mom and see what she thinks about all of that.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, she'll probably that sounds like something she'd probably be interested in. Other than she takes a lot of pride as she should in the business, and I don't think I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm curious. I want
Well,
to hear her answer.
because some of the things that are less talked about, with these big grocery stores is, one, that you're responsible for that product, and for whatever reason, if they want it out of there,
Mhm.
it's at your expense. You have to buy stuff back, and sometimes, I don't know, there's breakage and things like that. So you have to really have it all outlined out in the beginning, see exactly what you're liable for and responsible for, because it can be a disaster.
It can be. We had a little bit of that with Kroger. Um, yeah, that.
So
Yeah,
that's
that.
why, like, I'm a big proponent of like taking things from the ground up, because that's the way we had to do it, because we had no money to go big like what you guys are planning to do. And this way you kind of get a sense for the whole operation. You understand how it runs. You understand what kind of manpower is needed in order to produce X amount of jars,
Right.
costs for jars, and where you're going to be getting them from, and what the breakdown is on those. And this way you don't take a
Thankful.
big bath.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, she has about, like I said, like 7 years of experience doing it that way.
Hmm.
She did. Everything's been done in stages,
That's good.
and yeah, it did. But at the same time, it's hurt a little bit too, and we've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Like you were just saying, like.
Yeah.
But that was one of the good things is she did have. I mean, she went and found the bottle she wanted to use first, and then she found all the supplies, and then she found the label machine, and then she found this, and then she started working on like after she had all the pieces in play, other than the people. Um, she she then went to Kroger and was like, "Hey, I have this product. I'd like you to sample it." I was with her for that. I was with her through most of that. That was about 6 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, and then it started. That was kind of where we started butting heads so hard that like we needed to take some time apart there. And um, and then and now I'm coming back into it with fresh eyes, learning my own lessons that I've needed to learn,
That's
or
good.
in the same sense.
Hmm.
And things are moving a lot faster and a lot smoother.
What kind
Um,
of payment terms do they want you guys, like net 60, net 90? I've seen a lot of places with 3 months before you get paid.
the Kroger was like it was at first it was 3 months, and then it was almost like 6 months before they gave her the next payment. So it
Hmm.
was kind of like a step, like, yeah, we'll pay you for the first order in 3 months, but then after it was kind of established there, they paid for the next order in like a 6 month increment.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's why I offer my customers a net 30 because that's what I'm operating with my buyers, people that I buy from. And so, for me to do 60, net 60, net 90, that's crazy. I could never sustain that. I'd have to have like, $1 million in the bank all the time just for operations.
Right.
And, so it's like you definitely don't want to find yourself on vapors while, they're placing these huge orders. You have to cough up the cost of everything. And
Right.
then you don't get paid for 6 months.
And that's where the idea of the truck comes in, is it's hopefully that we can turn a profit that way and bring in some money, extra capital to start covering the costs of the
Hmm.
sauce for Kroger. And it's it's going to be hard. I'm going to be sweating a lot.
Well, you got an
And
adventure ahead of you.
I do. I'll try to video much as possible.
Yeah, I would say this, if you ever, if you're, I'm always here for whatever you want to run something up, run something through me, see what my thoughts are on it, and see if it's a new perspective you haven't heard. I'm certainly welcome to do that anytime.
I would love that. I could use all the help that I can get. I
Hmm.
know for a fact this is going to be an endeavor, and
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep pushing. That's all I know how to do, is keep pushing.
Well, I mean,
Eventually,
that's it. That's business.
yep.
That's business, and I find like I know I've heard a number of people say that they think that needs to be a certain way, and there's no competition, and it's not edgy, it's not hard, it's not rude, it's not this, it's not that, and I'm like, well, it's everything, and it depends on who you're working with, and sometimes you do have to deal with that, and sometimes you
Mhm.
don't. That's just the way it is,
Agreed.
you know. We're small. What if I get somebody who's nasty with me, I don't do business with them. That's just my personal philosophy. But most of the people that we do business with are very easy to work with, and that's why I really like the Ace Hardwares. You should really try to
Oh,
think about that one there. There's
I absolutely. I work tomorrow. Saturday or Monday will be a an Ace Hardware visit for me,
yeah. Uh-huh.
because I got to be out one of those days anyway, looking for more locations that I can park this thing. I'm
Hmm.
starting to find out it might be a little too big, but we needed the room.
The bus there.
Yeah, yeah. Because the one place that I went to today, or well, I went to like four different places after the DMV. They were like, "It's 32 feet," and I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "That might be a little too long for the spaces we have available." And I went and looked at it, and I was like, "I can fit that in there if you let me rent it."
It's pretty darn long. I
I
used to
mean, it's a
drive
bus.
a I used to drive a tractor trailer that was 53 foot long. That trailer. That's not much shorter.
No, 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 not much. I uh, I want to buy one of those and turn it into a motorhome.
Well, you and a lot
Oh,
of other people. That's
hey, FYI,
hmm.
and I don't mind saying this because it's already done, but uh, if you do ever go the food truck route and you do decide to do something similar where you end up with a bus,
Hmm.
because it has running, throw a sleeping bag in it, and because it has running water in it, you can register it
Hmm.
as
A
a motorhome.
residence.
Yeah, yeah, and uh, and the health inspectors don't look at registration when they're inspecting the kitchen, so it can literally be registered as a motorhome.
Well, that's good because that might be your next home.
Right? Well, at least I can keep it warm.
You throw a cot in there or a hammock.
Right? Right? Nah, no, we got this. It's the good news is it's paid for outright. So at least
Oh,
as
that's
far as
good.
this is, yeah, this as far as this is concerned, all I have to do is pay for rent of the plat that it's on and create returning customers.
Well, I
Easier said
think
than done, but
this is an ongoing saga. We definitely want to have you in and out of here on the show and check on your progress and see how things are going with this on an ongoing basis.
I would love to.
Hmm.
I mean, anything that we do together, like I'm still in everything. I'm trying to keep up with everything. David, I know if you're watching this, I still owe you a paperwork, but I will get to that.
Now the other thing I wanted to get on here was the Titano snowboard that you did.
Yeah, let
can we
me.
get some show everybody what's going on with the
Yeah,
snowboard?
I did that unboxing that I ended up putting up on.
Did you put it on the Discord?
I did
And what was the response to it?
at first. Like it took an hour. But then I posted during a really slow time because I didn't want to take away from anything else anybody else was doing. So I kind of waited until it was really really slow and the
Yeah,
chat wasn't moving,
yeah.
and I just launched it. And I got a lot of cool questions and a lot of and that's kind of what sparked that Amazon idea.
Hmm.
Is I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he listened to something I had said because I had recorded that just after your and Paul's and
And
Cody's,
yeah,
yeah,
a contest.
content, yeah.
Hmm.
And then so I had piggybacked off of the the whole marketplace idea, and I can't remember exactly what I said at this point, but it was something along the lines that sparked this other gentleman to be like, and he had this. I screenshotted it. It went. I'll send it. I'll send the screenshots because it was a really cool long conversation. It was a good idea.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I'd like to see that.
and then yeah, and then I ended up. I don't know what I ended up doing the rest of that day, but I ended up having to get off, and I was busy for the rest of the day. But let me turn this around.
When will you get to try this out?
So
Wow,
one of my brothers is trying to get me to wax it and let's go hike up the what's left of the glacier on top of Mount Hood this week or
uh,
next week. I'm gonna try and make that happen, but I don't have any promises at the moment.
can you
Um,
flip your camera? Is there any way to get it to
I, I
flip the?
I was trying,
I think you can do it on your camera here, like
like
on
the
the yeah, like there should be like three dots or something that you could click on, and I think you can flip your own camera.
I was trying earlier. Nope, that's just a picture.
Is there a gear or something that you could press on?
Nope, that's not it.
And then, like, if you click on the gear, they should have settings
Yeah,
for video and audio.
yeah, and then it lets me. Does that do it? No, that didn't.
Is well, I lost your audio, but this looks like maybe from a different day. I don't know. If you can hear me, I just want to let you know that I can't hear you at all. So I don't know what you did, but oh, I see your dog. Let me just tell you in the Discord that we can't hear you. Or you know what? I'll text. I'll text you. Oh, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. When you were when you were checking for that setting, that's when your sound dropped out. Let's see. Let me see if it's maybe my headphones. Let's see. I still can't hear you. Nothing.
Check.
There,
Yep, there.
there you go. There you go. What was that?
For some reason, it's not registering my headset anymore.
Huh?
So
You need a new headset?
no, I think it's just my phone. I think it's just not liking what I'm doing with it.
I see.
But yeah.
Just so the first thing I noticed about the board is that the Titano's on the bottom and not on the top, and nobody could see it when you're unless you're on your back, like I would be if I tried snowboarding.
I'm gonna have to get some air. um, I don't know. That's where I've noticed all the. I had that same thought because I was gonna do the EGA for the Marine Corps on the bottom originally,
Mm-hmm.
and I had that same thought and had to look up regulations because essentially that could be construed as me like dragging the EGA across the ground. But because of the way that what I concluded, I guess, is because of the way that snowboarding is like typically logos go on the bottom.
Mm.
And then because then you can get the like trick shots, and then you can whatever you're doing with.
That's true. I mean, are
Um,
you at that level where you're doing that, like catching major air and throwing your legs up and everything?
no, I got some air this season, but I'm still learning that like that. I'm doing like bunny hops essentially.
Do you have any worthwhile? I mean, do you have any massive wipeouts that?
Oh, absolutely. I had one that I hit so hard that some lady skied up to me. I had no idea who she was, but she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Did that look bad?" And she was like, "That looked awful."
I could
Like, well,
see,
it
man.
didn't.
If it's snow, I guess the thing you don't want to land on is your head, right? You don't want
Right.
to, you don't want to bend your neck.
I got a helmet now.
Phew. Wow,
uh, I hit a tree once.
gosh, that's terrible. Why do we laugh when we hear stuff like that? You know?
Because I'm saying it in a manner to make it funny because I mean it was hard, but
Yeah,
like, but you live and learn, and I am starting to get to the more like I can go in the trees and go out into the back country and follow my buddy through the trees and stuff like that. I am getting more proficient that way.
hmm
Um, or I was. I mean, at this point, we haven't gone in 3 weeks, but
How fast would you say you can bring that thing up to?
I got up to um, when I was timing it, I got up to 35 miles an hour.
Whoa.
Or not timing it, but I pulled up Google Maps and then GPSed my house and then had it track me as I was going down the mountain, and I got up to 35 miles an hour according to that.
Jeez. And how do you stop? You just have to like dig that thing in sideways or something?
That's what took me most of the beginning part of the season to learn is how to stop. Um,
Without killing
yes,
yourself or someone
yeah,
else.
or anybody else. I mean, on a board, like I don't know if you can see, but the metal edge.
Okay, yeah.
So it's all about balance, and it's kind of in your knees. I can't really show you because I'm holding the phone, but um, it's a, like for how I've learned it in my head is your back foot, not your lead foot, is kind of controls your turning, but both feet together and your angles are like to lean back, you'll use your heel edge. To lean forward, you'll use your toe edge, and you'll carve out your way, and you kind of slow down by sliding. Essentially, I'd have to
Hmm.
show. I need to find a video because there was some very good videos I showed uh, my brother Chris earlier in the season that were like perfect on how to carve and how to stop.
Well, you'll have to get a GoPro and strap that thing to your chest or something.
We have several GoPros that we. I need to get the videos edited because we took a lot of video this season.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you need to get busy on your machine over there.
I do. I do. Titano and personal business took precedent over everything.
Yeah, it's taken me like I've spent the last 7 days, the last week, just piecing together my setup over here. You know, I feel like I'm totally detached from everything that's happening, but it's like I need, between running a business, family, and Titano, it's just it's tough,
It is,
you know.
and yeah, I don't have a family yet, so I mean, as far as like significant other and kids, but
Yeah,
I can only imagine how much more like. I mean, I'd imagine that's not
it's
necessarily
demanding.
stressful. Yeah, but it is
It's,
demanding.
it's just demanding, you know. But I wanted to ask you a question about the snowboarding. I forgot what it was, and now I remembered. So,
Okay.
I was just thinking to myself, is that a very, is that how taxing is that? How cardiovascular is snowboarding? I would think it's very.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. I mean, I have, there was some days where I had my heart rate up at like 170, 184.
Oh wow, I don't think that's good, right?
No, it was, well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. I was pushing pretty hard.
So you're
Um,
working up a sweat.
yeah, you don't feel it because you're in the freezing, but yes.
Uh huh. I'll be
Um,
darned. So it's good
I,
exercise.
I want to verify that before I say that with certainty. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking up I'm trying to see if the previous, like,
Your video froze, but I can still hear you.
okay. There we go. And then, let's see, let me go back to a snowboarding day. There we go. I wear my watch the entire time.
Uh
Okay,
huh.
so yeah, here I got up to 128 beats per minute.
Okay.
I hit, there was a 0.9% of the time I hit between 170 and 180.
Okay. I mean that's pretty high. The first numbers were fairly normal, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, and I spent 15% of the time in anaerobic, which is between 151 and 169. And then aerobic, we spent 27% of the time, which is 132 between and 150. What it's calling weight control, I spent it 32% of the time at 113 to 131. And then low intensity was 28% of
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting.
so
Wait.
like yeah, there'd be points where I like was pushing really really hard and then so my heart rate would spike there for a second, but it's not like I stayed there consistently. It was, I was either on the chairlift, to calm down, or we went and grabbed a beer or something.
You feel like you're pretty tired at the end of the day?
Oh, I could sleep no problem.
Uh,
But like normally, my brother will drive up, and then I will drive home, and then he ends up taking he at the beginning of the season he'd end up spending the night because he was riding his bike everywhere, and he would just not want to ride his bike from my house to his house. And then at the end of the season, he would just he also ended up buying a truck, so he ended up just driving home that, and then I was just out like 8 p.m. and I'd sleep all the way to like you know 6 7 o'clock in the morning.
mm-hmm. I'm trying to drag my Discord into my third screen, and it won't do it. It'll only go to the second screen. Doesn't that seem weird?
Probably because in your display you have the monitor, your third screen set up somewhere else. So I bet you if you dragged it to a different corner, it would start to go to that third screen. You're just gonna have to figure out which corner.
Oh yeah, you're. Whoops. It worked. You're gonna have to be my tech guy.
I can do that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like a lot of the stuff you could, man, kind of drove me a little bit crazy, you know. And I think, unfortunately for me, well, I found my biggest problem was my ISP provider
Mm.
or the service provider. It just happened to be like they had some issues, and I was
Uh,
thinking that it was the equipment, so it was driving me nuts for the last couple days.
yeah, I've had to learn a lot of that because I mean you've seen it. Like
Hmm.
it's nobody judge me on my what's it called? Cable management, please. But that's my biggest issue is I am awful at cable management. If you actually could see all of that, uh, that would give some people a heart attack.
I
That
know. All the whole backside of my setup here is just wires and cables.
it is everywhere.
How do you like
Uh,
my accent lights over there?
I love it. I love your entire setup. I was looking. I love the like. I was like remembering when you sent me those pictures earlier. I love that feeling of getting all the new stuff and getting to put it all together and make it look. I like you took the idea too, like of the keeping your unless you put a green screen up.
Not
But
yet.
no,
No, no.
I like that. I like that. That looks very
The curtains.
the curtains and the your wall and the lighting and
The wall's red to begin with, so they have these little cans that change
that's
color, and
man,
those
I
little.
must be colorblind because those are coming through as pink for me.
Well, that's because I got lights under on
Oh,
pink, like pink
okay.
lights on the ground. Yeah,
All right. Okay. Okay.
uh,
That works out. Don't scare me like that.
yeah. Because I was having it's like when I was trying to shoot it straight on, it was there's no depth. It was just like this wall behind me, the drapes, and it was very challenging, and it just didn't feel like it looked very nice. So I wanted to try to, I didn't want it too fancy, but I also didn't want it to look, ridiculous.
No,
So
I think that's nice. I think it adds a nice like ambiance to the background.
I do want to green screen the drapes and then put something behind there, like maybe I don't know what we could put back there. Maybe I thought it would be funny to put like a porno playing in the
I,
background over there, but I don't think people would find that very funny. Maybe I might
I
even get
would. I think that'd be hilarious.
I'd be get thrown off of YouTube.
you that'd be one way to go out though.
I could just say I don't know. It was in the other room. What was going on in there? I'm not responsible for that.
Yeah.
But there's some neat videos. Like there's these videos on YouTube that are running for like 8 hours long, and it's just a picture. It's a camera set up in front of a window, like of a nightscape, and it's raining, and there's water droplets running down the window. And they
Mm.
got they got all kinds of crazy stuff like that. I thought, man, that would be kind of neat, like to have like like if you were looking out of a high rise in a big city with all the
Yeah.
lights and everything. And I thought that might look cool, kind of cool behind there. So I'm gonna try it, see what
You
happens.
got it. Yeah. I I have a buddy that was using a green screen for a lot of different things, and he had a lot of really good ideas with it. And so I know that just get creative. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I see they got. I went on what was it, Amazon, and they sell green screen suits. So it's like a full body suit. So you put that thing on, and you put your clothes over it, and then you can actually remove yourself from it. You look like the Invisible Man, I guess. Just have your shirt and I don't know your headphones or whatever showing
Right.
whatever's not green. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be a funny way to kind of do a video.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I don't have the pressure of trying to grow the show to any numbers, or I'm not having to please anybody or answer anyone, so I could do whatever I want. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a really good feeling too. Um, and I mean, it'll grow organically. You'll end up with people that just follow you, just to watch, have a couple hours of something to listen to in the background.
Something different. There's
Yeah.
there's other directions too I want to go to. I think like I'd like to have a good number of shows that just deal with the stubborn nature of life itself, and how do you not give up, and how to you plow ahead through all kinds of adversities, and at the end of the day, it's like it's really pain management.
It is.
It really is, and it's just developing the right, mindset to weather the storms. Because,
Right.
it's not like if they're coming, it's they're coming,
Right.
and are you going to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time?
Mm. Yeah, hopefully you don't choke on it.
Well, I mean, this is where I think in a lot of ways, it's the company you keep is kind of important, because, sometimes you're so close to something, you don't know where you're at or where to go. So it's always good to have some good people that have, you think about some of the benefits of living a long life. So you have a lot of different experiences, where you're able to, offer somebody something different, that they haven't experienced yet just because they're young, and so a lot of times people are experiencing something just for the first time, and they don't even really know what to do. They don't even know that there's something they can do.
Right.
I mean, it just depends on, what kind of company they keep, their parents, and who are they, and what do they do and don't do. And so I'd like to have a show like that just deals with certain aspects of even this trading. You think about, you see some of these people in the Discord, they're literally losing their minds. And
Right.
it's like, I've got over $120,000 invested in Titano, and my wallet's gone down just like theirs has, and that money's important to me just like theirs is. But I'm not falling to pieces, crying and trash talking my own investment. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of
Yeah, 100%. It, I was kind of, because the business has been more of my mom's biggest investment, whereas the stocks and crypto have been more of my biggest investments.
hmm
And I was trying to explain the difference and some of the and I'm starting to teach my mom how to invest, and I was telling her about some of the dips that I had last year with some of the money that I had in some of my investments. She was like, "So what happened to the money?" And I was like, "Well, technically, it's gone." Like, uh, she's like, "That didn't freak you out? That didn't scare you?" And I was like, "Well, uh, I've lost more than that." And, and she was like, "What?" And like, she-
Well, I mean,
and
it's not lost if you didn't sell it.
right, and that was the point I was working to with her is like,
hmm
well, there's a reason why I said technically, is because yes, technically I watched it go from this price to this price, but I didn't hit that sell button. So even though it's at this price, I'm going to watch it go from this price back up to this price.
Yeah,
And she was
hopefully.
like, "Oh well, huh?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully." Uh,
Yeah. I mean, that's the
mm,
idea.
yeah, and she's starting to get it, and she, I, not financial advice, it financial advised her, and and gave her some, and she's made like 30 something bucks so far, and she's super stoked about that.
Uh, yeah,
And
I see that there too. People are very excited about some pretty small numbers. It's kind of interesting if you watch the trading that's happening. Like on the dexes. It's really
yeah,
interesting to see what people are trading. They're playing around with like a dollar.
right.
$2, $3, $4, and selling too. I see a lot of buying and selling of some really, really, really small numbers. So it's kind of interesting.
Are you talking about Titano's decks?
Yeah. No, I'm yeah,
Oh,
uh-huh,
oh,
yeah. Oh yeah, on
okay.
Titanic.
I was gonna say, what time was that?
Yeah, no.
Because I wanted to put more money into play, and so I had to sell like 100 Titano to get enough to put into play.
It's really crazy. Like it's just really crazy to see what what you got to sell, the amount of Titano that you have to unload right now to make,
Right.
to pull out $1,000 versus, when it was close to
Oh,
20 cents, man. Golly.
well, like like we have our group investment that we all put $1,500 into, and now it's only worth 1730 something as of this morning. So we went from like $10,000 to 1,700,
I,
and
yeah, I think at the height of my, when things were really pumping over there, I was making close to 4 grand a day.
oh heck yeah.
I was
Uh,
like, yeah, oh hell yeah, this thing's gonna go to 50 cents or more, and
right.
then all of a sudden, bam.
Yeah, I think the government had some bigger plans there.
Yeah,
Um,
but
and
I mean,
I just mean, and I don't mean like any sort of political party. I just more mean like with the rate hikes and whatever's going on with oil and gas. I don't know whose fault that one is.
it's all our fault, brother. We gave these politicians too much power unchecked.
Hmm.
It's our fault. I mean, that's the big saying. You've heard it. It's like you get the government you deserve.
Right.
If anybody wants to look for blame, look at yourself. We're so busy trying to create the life that you want to have, you just totally leave all the government shit in the hands of people you don't know, and they've turned into crooks.
Getting involved is important. Um,
Yeah, now you want to get involved, but you got to wonder if it's going to get you killed.
right.
you
But
know, I don't know what
uh,
the answer is. It's going to be hard to turn this around, but I don't. I mean, I don't see how anybody who's paying attention to Washington can say that that's a government for the people, by the people. Those people are controlling everything, and they're manipulate. They've got the news media in their pocket. They've got all TV in their pocket. They're sending the messages they want sent, and that's it. You're just going to pick and choose from the material that they want you to hear.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, what
I
kind of
mean,
system is that?
I that's the kind where
You don't have to
power.
be afraid to say anything here, man.
No, I'm not afraid. I was trying to figure out how I wanted to say it. Like it was more of it's like that's how power stays in power. That's what it is. That's what
Yeah, well, I mean, when you say, "Hey, look, I don't want to have any part of this," and I'm busy doing other things, don't be surprised when, other people are going to say, "Okay, he doesn't want anything to do with it. We're just going to do what we want to do, and that's
right.
that." And that's it. That's the way it goes. Fortunately.
And then we go from a democracy to a dictatorship.
I got something going on over here. I don't like it, but at least at some point, you can still do, I think, the thing is like good people want to see the whole nation turn around at the same time. And I think the best you can do is just try to work out some kind of system for yourself and your family, and navigate through these waters. You can do it individually, but trying to bring everybody along at the same time, especially in this environment, forget it. So it's going to be a long story, long, long story.
I kind of agree. At the same time, I do think that like a strong community and one that you build yourself with people who are like minded is very important. Um, I keep
Yeah.
saying though, also kind of to touch on your comment I mean, with the government, like I didn't vote for anybody. I really didn't. I don't
Mhm.
think that the person who should be in power right now wants to be in power, and that's the person who should be in power. And I mean, that's kind of my views on all of that. Is if you want the power so much that you're going to go and take people's money and take and do it dishonestly, and I mean, that's all I see out of our politicians is just greed.
Well,
And
one of the things that I saw, like with the advent of Trump's election really showed us a lot of things. And I
Mhm.
think that the one thing that I took away from this is that your president is like much like the singer of a band. And I mean, let me tell you something. One of the things that I've seen here that I know for a fact is that you can tell somehow or another, that presidency really illuminated this whole idea that the president is not running things. It's not
Mm.
running things. Other people are running it. Other systems are running it, and he's told what to do, what to say, where this is where you're going, this is where you're not going to go, and and that's it. So, I mean, I think that we're just operating under an illusion, that our president is somebody who's really making the decisions. I don't think our president is making the decision. I don't think the last one was, and I don't think this one is. It's
It
other
was
it's other people.
it was the Prince, I believe, that book by Machiavelli, right? I can't remember the exact name, but I know that I believe it was by Machiavelli, where he said that um, something. I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't remember the
Yeah.
exact quote, and my brain has been going a million miles an hour all day. But it was essentially like you keep the public busy, and the people who tried to come out and call you out as a leader for being corrupt, you just mark as crazy, and then
Hmm.
get the public to believe that they're crazy,
Yeah.
and then nobody will believe them anyway, even though they're right. And that's how you keep power.
Well, the amazing thing is that honestly, the amount of people in our country that are even paying attention to politics is actually very small. I mean, it's so small. They can really do whatever they want in plain view, and almost nobody knows about it. That's a fact.
I,
When you.
I'd agree with that.
Hmm.
I would think that I do see it getting a little bit better in the sense of more and more people are talking about it, but not by much.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, okay, even if Trump didn't turn out to be a decent president, I thought it would at least open up the doors for somebody better to come along. Somebody that was uh, put in there by the people. But honestly, my opinion is I think Trump probably did surprise them and got the votes for the first time around, and then they just did everything they could to make his life miserable, and then they took him out the next election. And I don't know if we're ever going to really have a system again where we actually elect people, because after this whole debacle, I do not trust our election systems at all.
you're not the only one that feels that way either, and that's the sad part is I mean, especially after what all of the previous corruption in the government in the 70s or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I'm awful with dates, so don't quote me on that. But like there was a big push to regain the trust in the people, and it feels like we're just going back the other direction, and with a lot of things.
Yeah, well, look at the way they're choosing to do it. It doesn't inspire trust. You can't.
Not at
It's
all.
like all the news organizations and even talk shows are all editorialized, and it's like it's not real discussion, and it's not anything like the way it should be. Everything's very scripted. They're You see what happens when somebody says something that they don't want to hear. They're out of there. That's it. They're
Right.
not, you never see them again. You know. So it's like,
Oh,
huh?
I you just reminded me of a conversation that was had, and it involved firearms.
Oh,
And you remember what I'm talking about?
yeah, the talk with David in it.
Well, I wasn't going to name any names, but yeah,
Uh huh.
um, I could see the look on your face, and because I wanted, I like you and I both kept pretty quiet through that, through what he was saying. And what is your views on that?
Mine?
Yeah, I was
Well,
curious.
I think it's, you know, I mean, the obvious thing is that whenever these things happen, it's outrageous. And you know, we're talking about mass shootings or whatever.
Mhm.
Um,
No,
I don't
I
know.
definitely agree with that.
You know, I mean, it's like that is what it is. Uh, However, you know, if you're trying to limit people's ability to protect themselves because bad things happen, that's also outrageous. And you know, I don't know what the answer to that is, but the legislation that I've read pretty much is trying to make it extremely difficult and maybe even impossible for just about anyone to buy ammunition and to even have a gun. So it's like,
I think that got shot down today. I think there was something that I watched somewhere. I can't remember where. That I believe that specific bill got shot down today by the Supreme Court because it was ruled against, or under the 14th and the Second Amendment, that was unconstitutional. But there there was a discussion that something does need to happen.
mhm. Well, I mean,
Um,
if you think about, you know, you think about like why do these things happen? It's like the bigger problem, I mean, any kind of, first of all, any kind of legislation that would even possibly put in place is not going to stop these things from happening. Um, they're just going to impact lawful gun owners. Um,
right.
but, you know, the bigger problem is what's making people do these things. And I think that's the thing that needs to be explored and talked about.
Yeah, that was. I agree. One of my writing teachers when I first started college, it was just before COVID. Um, there was one of the mass shootings in one of the schools at that point too, and that was his topic too. Is like we really need to not attack the cause that is right in front of us. Essentially, we need to attack what is causing the chain of events to cause that to be the only option that an individual feels is the appropriate action.
Yeah, and you know, it's not even this that. It's just the whole response to these things too, which is extremely dubious.
Oh,
It's like,
the
you know,
more, the more. Yeah.
oh, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And you know, and it's like they immediately go and corral the parents into, you know, interviews and trying to get them into some
Mhm.
politicized, you know, conversation. And it's just like, you know, you've heard these politicians say, you know, you never let a tragedy uh, get in front of, you know, legislation. And it's in essence what they're saying is never let a good tragedy go to waste. And so they take these moments and they editorialize it and they just you know, exploit it in any way that fits their narrative, whatever it is. And they don't really care about the victims and they don't really care about the survivors, and they're just there to, I don't know, whatever their agenda is, you know. But if it's on like CNN or Fox or any of those things, we already know what their agenda is.
Mm.
And it's like, you know, I look at it like it's just, to me, it's just obvious. Like a lot of times, you know, you say, well, the most simple thing is probably the most obvious thing is actually what's happening, you know. And we have an imperial press. Our press is not a real press corps. That's a joke. It's a joke. It's not informative in any way whatsoever. It's a direct extension from the government, the news.
I agree. I really really wish I could invest more into. Um, so my brother, his mom, the she does her own news, or she's been working on her own news network for ages now,
Yeah.
and it's um, I want to share it, but I don't know if she wants me sharing it yet.
Mm.
But I mean, it's been like 15, 16 years in the making. And I mean, she would fly out and do her own articles. And that was her biggest thing is she's like, I can't expand because then the story isn't being told
Hmm.
in the like I would then be at the will of anybody who has to pay me money to do anything, and then the story isn't being told for the story; it's being told to create the income, and then it just becomes a cycle of that. So she's like, I do what I can when I can, but I
It's
don't
the
want to bring
editing.
anybody in.
It's
Yeah,
the editing room. That's where all the cuts happen, and they make it
yeah,
and shape it any way they want. And they can tell whatever story they want because they're not showing it. Like a lot of people have. I've done lots of presentations and things in my 55 years,
mm,
and this channel and other things, and I've always had people say you take too long to draw out your conclusions, to paint your picture. Your presentations are too long. And I'm like, well, that's real life. Okay. That's how people talk. And not everybody's a professional speaker for a living. And it takes a while sometimes to get your thought across. And it takes some debate and it takes questions and then it takes answers to those questions. And you have to have time to let all of that play out naturally. And if you don't do that, then you're getting something that's somebody else's vision because the guys that you're interviewing aren't the ones in the editing room,
mm,
And what do you hear constantly from people? They're like, that's taken out of context. Well, you know
mm.
why it's taken out of context? And
So
so that's my big pet peeve.
yeah, I have the perfect example. I I I need to figure out because I really don't want to divulge any information about this person, so I got to figure out how I'm going to word this real quick. Um, I'm just going to say I know of a story where a an individual went out and was on a dating app,
Hmm.
and I've used them before too, and then you swipe left for people you don't like and swipe right for people you do like. Sometimes you're not looking at necessarily anything other than that, or you can also lie about things on there too because it's what you're writing.
Hmm.
And so like this individual ended up, from what I understand, matching with somebody and going. And I'm not sure on all the details. I'm kind of just the whole point is to show the editorial piece. Long story short, the individual ends up with this person. This person ends up in the hospital where the doctors find out that he is having an intimate relationship, and this was the significant other, if you will, that this
Hmm.
person found. Well, it turns out this person had been lying about their age the entire time, and so then the police ends up getting involved
Uh,
because this person,
hmm.
was underage and they were romantically involved together. Well, this the individual happened to also be a police officer, and um, it got so blown out of proportion that it ended up that was all the context is like dude didn't know, they did what they were doing together and whatever that was, and then parents ended up getting involved in all of that, and then the news media got involved and started just slandering him as um as a child molester, and
Hmm.
then that kind of stuff. And like it's like, well, you left out, because I went and read the articles. I mean, like I did. I was like, whoa. I mean, dude lost his job. I mean, still fighting to this day about it all. And granted, I got one side of the story, and I didn't do much more research after that. But um, like that, from what I understand, it was blown so far out of proportion that like they were forced to lose. He was forced to lose his job. He was so like, I mean, and he at the end of the day he did end up sleeping with a minor. So like, that was kind of on the parents' decision. But like, how is it fair to, I guess, to label, because that ruins somebody's life right there.
Well,
Like how.
I think in a lot of cases in people's minds, these kinds of things, they look at one, how old But how much older was the older person? What was the spread between the two, in terms of years? Because I mean, like if you had an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old, I think people have an easier
Right.
time with that than a 35-year-old and a 16-year-old who's
And yeah,
saying they're 18,
I'm not sure on any of that context. Like, I don't
So I
with
mean, I'm just saying that that's the kind of
yeah,
thing, it's like, but here again, these news organizations, they have their own agenda, and it doesn't matter what the facts are, they got their
yeah,
own.
mm,
That's just, that's just my biggest problem. If I say, you say like, oh, what does, I don't know, man. We're talking a little bit about politics and things like that. It's kind of hard to get away from it when, it's everywhere, especially with COVID and all of that stuff. Where they're just forcing all these businesses to lock down and people to sequester themselves, and they've destroyed so many businesses and so many businesses. I mean, it's like we haven't even begun to feel the impact of those 2 years, and this is going to be a
mhm.
long story, And look
I'm
at
hoping not, but yes, I
oh,
agree.
yeah, it's a long one.
Mm.
And where do you get your help from? The news media? No, no. That's the questions they don't ask. You know what I mean? And then the ones they do ask, you can see they're contrived. It's a bunch of baloney. So
Right.
I mean, I don't watch anymore, and I'm much happier. But when it's tough because people like they want to be engaged, they do want to be able to help out, but at some point you start to realize, like, wow, what am I really involved with here? Because it's like they're just going to do whatever they want to do. It's just like you look at bills that are passed and your local government doesn't like it. What do? They reverse it. That's it. It's just simple. It's not power. It's not power of the people. It's overturned. It's undone all the time. And you know, okay, so that's the way it is. So life accordingly. And look at what's happening with crypto. Here it is. The people trying to find a way to do better for themselves. And what does the government do? They're like, no, I got to come in here and I got to shut this thing down if I can't have total control over it.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to ask yourself, why is your government working so hard to keep the average person from doing better for themselves? That's my question.
Because that's how they stay in power and that's how they have more money.
Yeah. So,
Greed is what it boils down to. That's kind of what I've always boiled it down to is just greed. But I mean, I'm sure there's more to it than that.
they try to say, well, we're just trying to protect the people. I'm like, I don't need your protection. You learn from your mistakes and hopefully you do better. But it's like you got these people that think that they can come in and just direct your whole entire life. It's like, it's insane. I don't want it. I
Uh,
don't, I don't need it either. But they try to
no,
convince you that you need them to make decisions for you. It's stupid.
no, I can make my own.
Yeah.
Ask my mother. I'm great at arguing.
Yeah, that's why, it just bothers me so much to see what they're trying to do for crypto, and how they frame it, these
It,
very
it,
basic arguments, and it's just like, come on,
I agree.
ridiculous. You
I,
think about just what's available to the average person now. If you go and take a look at a site like Titano, right, that is partnered with, like say Bog or any other of the different exchanges that exist, a person can literally take total control of their finances. They don't even need a bank. I mean, you might need a bank just to off ramp and on ramp some fiat currency and exchange. But I mean, the money management, that's all you can do that yourself. I mean, think about the tools that are available to you now that didn't exist just a few years ago
mm,
or even a year ago. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, you know, me myself, I took $25,000 and I was able to take crypto and turn it into over 200. And I didn't know jack squat about crypto.
I'm still learning how to do that. I turned 3 grand into 36 last year, 36,000, but
Hmm.
definitely not that much. Like I'm
So
still I'm still
it's
working on that one.
these are very useful tools, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
the reason why the government doesn't want you to have them is because they don't want you getting uppity. They don't want you feeling like you don't need them, and they want to make sure that they get a piece of your. I mean, it's amazing. It's like you think to yourself, it's my risk, it's my money, and
Right.
but you guys think that you have access to it, and if I don't want to do it, you're going to put me in jail. You know, it's
Right.
like you got to be kidding me, man. It's like I don't know. You know, I know a lot of countries. There are countries out there that don't have any taxes or anything like that, and it's on you. You win your money, you lose it. It's all on you. And I think that's pretty interesting. And but it seems like every government wants their fair share, what they consider fair share of your risk and your capital. You know,
Right.
so I don't know, man. It's like I
Uh,
said, it's a long story, but the whole idea, I think a lot of people look at Titano and crypto as a way out of this mess, and
mhm.
they see something like some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, some possibilities that didn't exist before. When you work on a job, you have a cap, a ceiling. And, it's like, well, you can strike for a raise with your boss if you want, but, that's contingent on him agreeing with you. If he doesn't agree with you, he's just going to tell you, sorry, either you have to
Right.
wait for somebody to pass on and take their position, or you can go get another job somewhere, and it's like, it's very, very, very difficult to like find some way of, living a modern life, where you don't have your cars on, where you're paying twice what you should pay for it if you were able to purchase it all at once, your house three times its
Mm.
value, and these kinds of things are really, hold people back and really, I mean, really drain your finances. And that's how I think they look at like crypto as a potential way out. And, but it's always you have this sentiment hanging over your shoulder. These people in Washington and other parts of the country, these central banks, who are telling you you better do this, you better not do that. We're watching you, and I mean, it's just like what kind of system is this? It's kind of crazy. It's like where people have an opportunity to do better for themselves, and all they're thought of, they're treated like they're criminals. It's just kind of crazy to me.
It is. It really is. And that's kind of why and where I've taken the aspect of like not uh I've been working on this for a long time and I'm not all the way there yet, but making sure that I pay off all anything that I have a loan on or have currently, so that way I own everything outright, and from then on out, not just using the capital I have
Yeah.
to gain more. You know, I did finally just that was the other big news that I've had in the last couple weeks is actually I just paid off my car completely finally.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's a big one.
Hmm.
But yeah, like it's we are in a debt-based society that it's designed to create more debt, and then there's a way to utilize it. There definitely is, and you can look up tons of videos on how to utilize the debt and make yourself more money, and then give yourself a little bit more of a lavish lifestyle. But at the end of the day, that's still all debt,
Hmm.
and that's kind of been my goal. Is even if I don't end up with a family or anything like that, like I still have my niece and my sister and my brothers. If I can leave them something that isn't going to be reliant on continuing that cycle of debt,
Yeah.
is a much better way to go.
Yeah. I mean, you have to start thinking about that seriously at some point for sure.
Mm,
I mean, otherwise, the prognosis it's not a good one.
right.
I mean, my business and where I live, it's a pretty interesting place, and I'm constantly surrounded with, you know, the prospects of, just the reality of never being able to overcome your financial burdens. It's a pretty it's pretty run down, but it's a good place for my business because the land and the property was inexpensive, you know,
Mm,
and it's like right on the edge of state land, so there's not a whole lot of ugliness in my immediate vicinity, but
right.
it's close by, but it's just like, man, it's really amazing, to see all these homes that are just in total disrepair and you could see that it's been like this for, at least 30 years. And,
Yeah.
and yet there is, so when I made my crypto gains last year, I just thought, it was remarkable to me that anybody could come in with a little bit of money and turn it into some pretty significant profits. And that should be championed, and that people should you should be held up high for something like that, not scrutinized, and told to know your place. So,
Right. The problem with that is unfortunately the stock market and what they're trying to do with crypto is definitely kind of like the media, and it is controlled by a bunch of uh, a lot bigger entities that kind of can like someone was saying the other day, like there's people out there that can just completely wipe out they pull their profits and they'll wipe out the project.
hmm
Um, and don't get me wrong, because I still stand by my original statement of whales are good for. I think they are good for a project. It's an indication of health, in my opinion. But there are entities out there, especially in the stock market, that control most of the wealth
hmm
and it cause a bigger problem. And I couldn't speak 100% to it, but I've been kind of following that narrative, and especially with what was happening with like AMC and GME and all of that throughout all of last year. And I mean, the more and more it's shown, the more and more evidence there is for foul play in those areas.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's always but just like any business, there's a large element of risk. There's a large element of luck, but
Mm,
you can create your own luck, good luck, and
agreed.
you can create your own bad luck too. But it's like the more you learn about the game you're playing, the better your chances. And you don't bet the whole house.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know any other way to get around it, but if you can, like I made my money, the bulk of my money in yield farming with over many different projects. It was like, I don't know, I had over 15 different wallets going and pools, and it worked out. So, and you know what? It took me about I don't know, 6 months, a good 6 month learning curve,
Okay.
and so I mean, I don't think that's a very long investment. But
No.
but obviously, I guess your level of intelligence and the level of understanding that you're comfortable with is going to determine your outcome in a large way. You know,
Mm,
be, because there's always an opportunity to know more about the projects you're working with, and do you take the time to do it?
right. That's why time is always more valuable than money.
That's why I like the Discord so much, man. You learn so much from there's some really smart people in there.
I've just that has become an addiction. Is just talking to people in there. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
we met. Like,
that's true.
um,
Did you read that announcement that they had this today about Titanic?
yeah, they showed the the video,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, what's it called? It looked like a commercial. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I mean that thing got me hyped. Like I love that thing.
It
But
was really good.
they were explaining about how they've been talking about partners and getting more into the marketing and social media and that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, that was the gist of it.
Hmm. Yeah, it was good. That was pretty good video. I was like, oh dang, I wish I could produce something like that. I wouldn't even know where to
Yeah,
start though, you know.
I was thinking about like offering David like because I'm not by any means good with like Adobe and stuff, but I was like I'd try it out and make a commercial for you, and then I saw that. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's no way I could get that kind of production quality out of anything that I do. Nope.
I always wonder like where they find the material to because when you say like, oh yeah, I think I could do that, but then when you start to sit down and actually put a project like that together, now you have to find all this material that you can use legally, because you know you're stuck with either royalty free music, images, or you have to
Mhm.
pay and you know some kind of fee, I guess, to use some you know whatever it is that you're using in the video, and it's like it quickly becomes much more complicated than you think.
There's a lot of because I dabbled in it a little bit, but there's a lot of sites out there that give you like copyright free music, copyright like there's a on like Spotify for example, like if you ever want to add music to your stream,
Uh,
there's this whole Spotify that has copyright free like you can pick from like EDM to like just like soft classical to like that some artists put together specifically from like I believe it was from the Twitch community. Um, and you can add it into like I would just play it on Spotify in the background like during my like because if I like had to pause my stream or something because I was at one point I was streaming for like 12, 13 hours a day trying to play a game that like I was awful at. I got a lot
mhm.
better by the end of it though.
So they got some pretty decent some decent content there that's royalty free.
Yeah, there and I believe that works for images and video too. I think that there's sites out there with stuff like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Because I noticed like the stuff that I found, like you know, if you want to put some like cutting edge rock music to it, it's not there. It's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like the quality was really. But whoever did this video, like here for Titan, I was like, well, shit, man, that sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounded fantastic. Even the like the equalizing on it was just on par with production quality like
Hmm.
or I mean it was production quality. I mean it's like they went into a studio and record that fresh.
Hmm. Yeah, they definitely know what they're doing. Yeah, I know, man. If it, maybe in the next life, you know, but there's just so much you can do in 24 hours.
Tell me about it. And then by the end of it I'm just drained.
Yeah.
Like we're
Honest.
getting oh go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's it. You know, it's like you give the best of what you have to like maybe one or two projects, and you know, usually that's your family and a job, and
Yeah.
then how much is left over? You know, what?
Not much. Not much.
Yeah.
And then there was a period of my life where I was so focused on my career as an employee and
Mm,
not trying to be an entrepreneur that I put everything on the back burner, and that was what kind of led me into where I'm at today. Is I just that wasn't who I was, and I didn't want to be working for a, a company that I was just another number to.
well, man,
And
but that's what you are. You know, that's the reality of working for somebody.
right,
You know, and I think it's like, you know, I look at it like it's you do it until you don't have to anymore. You know, it's like I don't poo-poo it because I did it most of my life. But you know, came a point in time where I just wasn't comfortable with it anymore, and you know, there was something inside of me that was saying, you know, you're not living up to your full potential. So, and that voice
yes,
just kept getting louder and louder.
yes, yes.
You know, so and you know that there just comes a time where you can't ignore it. It's like you know a bad case of tinnitus or something. You know, you
You
just won't go
just
away.
gotta just gotta go for it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So.
It is, and it draws at you, and then you I don't know. At least with me, it always starts off, especially when I have an idea that like I'm about to do something not necessarily crazy but big. Like it always starts off as hey, wouldn't it be funny? And then I'll end up sleeping on it, and that wouldn't it be funny turns into, huh, I probably could make that happen.
You know,
And
man,
then
it's like the people who really make things happen. They do, you know, they're able to do it because they think they can.
right, right.
So it's all up. It's all up here first. You know,
Mhm.
and you know the difference is that they don't talk themselves out of it.
Yeah, or let others talk them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, but you know, sometimes I think about this, you know, and it's like, you know, when I was a young man, a younger man, like in my 20s, I didn't understand these concepts, you know. So, and I didn't have somebody telling me that I could do something that I didn't think I could. So, you know, a lot of it depends on, you know, what sounds you're listening to, whose voices you have access to, you know. And it wasn't until like I got, you know, back from Iraq and started listening and really focusing on developing my mind, you know, and trying to really
Mhm.
understand myself better that I came into contact with big thinkers, you know, through books and audiobooks and that kind of stuff, you know, and it's like, well, through going through that material, you start to realize, you say, you know what, I kind of think like that already. I feel like I could do these things too. But, you know, if you don't have somebody, if it's not a book, it would have to be a person. But if you don't have something in your life saying, hey, listen, you know, you might be wasting your time over here. You should think about possibly putting some time and attention into this thing. You know,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? Or just somebody saying, hey, you know what? I've noticed this about you, about your personality type and your character, and I think you would be really good here in this way. Have you ever thought about doing this? You know, but how many people have someone like that in their life? Not many.
No,
It's not many. I mean, you just spend 10 minutes driving around my neighborhood and you'll see exactly what I mean. Not many. And
that's fair.
people go through their whole life, you know, uninspired because nobody inspired them. Nobody said they were inspiring. Nobody said you're interesting. Nobody said you're credible. Nobody said that's a good idea because they were so busy with whatever they were doing or they just didn't care. And like you go through a whole life, a lifetime devoid of that kind of attention, it's not a surprise what your life looks ends up looking like, unless you know you're a seeker, you know.
Right.
So, but a lot of people, you know, they'll just, you know, human nature wants to be comfortable, and any part of entrepreneurship,
Is not comfortable.
there's nothing comfortable about it. So if you can't get comfortable being uncomfortable, it's not for you.
Complacency kills.
Yeah. You know, after doing it for 13 years, it's a lot easier. But I remember like the first couple of years that I was in business, I really was just, I wished I could just like leapfrog 5 years into the future because I was just so nervous about tomorrow, you know, and next month and next, you know, next year. And it's like, what if I don't? What if I can't? You know, and what if I wipe out? And you know, it took a couple good years to get my sea legs, you know, to where you start to like, oh, you know what? I've done it this long. I could probably do it another month, another 2 months,
Yeah.
another 6 months, another year. And then, you know, once that process has enough time to work, I mean, you don't even think about it anymore. It's like you're, you know, just like babies do. They just stand up and start walking, and that's it. The rest is history. You never remember the crawling.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Um,
But
uh,
I crawled for 4 years. You know, the first 4 years of this business were, I mean, wow. It took all the time and attention, and it was really survival. You know, it worked.
mhm.
I mean, it did good, but I mean, it's like it required a lot. and not just from me, but from everybody who was involved, So,
Yeah.
but
That's
that's like life doesn't come with instructions. So,
no, it doesn't. And some lessons are they need to be learned the hard way sometimes.
yeah, but you know how like some people, they get hurt and what happens, they don't bounce
They just
back.
quit. Yeah, they just quit and they go away.
Mm-hmm. You're like, oh shit, that's hot. I don't know. I won't touch that again. And, I'd be thinking like, oh yeah, that was hot. Let's see if I can grab it a different way.
Right. Or can I
Yeah.
use something else to pick it up?
Right. Here, I'll put a mitt on or
Right.
whatever, and it's just like, but,
Here's $100. I bet you can't pick up this plate.
it's just like, where there's a will, there's a way, but
Right.
but I think that like that concept, is really lost on a lot of people. They don't think they can.
I was we were reminiscing about my dad several months ago, and that was the thing that came to my mind is like through all the things that went wrong with our family, but um like what like it was a point where I was like, I'd like to I was thinking about the lessons he taught me, and I don't know if he meant to do this. I mean, he was a smart individual. He didn't show it sometimes, but he was a smart individual.
Mhm.
Um, he One of the lessons that I definitely took away, whether he meant to or not, was that like there's always a way out of a situation. There's always a way there,
Mhm.
and survival in just the aspect of if it's not working, jump to something else to make it work until and if it's something that you wanted to work and it just isn't working, jump to something else anyway, and so you can help to bring it back to this thing that you wanted to work and then make that work. And I'm explaining that awfully, but
No, you didn't. No, it's
um,
it's not awful at all. It's just exactly the way it is. But a lot of people think it's just a platitude. That's just some fancy talk that some people use. But that's just because they've never had someone to push them through a situation.
yeah, it's and the more I grow up and the more that I see and look at the people around me and see that is a very unique lesson, the more I try to like just push that out there because there is sometimes it sucks. And there's a guy on TikTok that I follow. He's a septic guy that he started his own business.
Hmm.
One of the things he said that caught my ear, because I used to say it a lot when I was managing uh, at the retail store, is you got to be willing to do the jobs that people just do not want to do. And he's like, for me, that was septic, and I found a great like it was just a video I was watching, but it kind of spoke out that way too. And it was like, yeah, I've said that a lot. You just got to be willing to. You'll outshine a lot of people, and you'll be uh,
It's so
well
obvious.
noticed. Yeah.
It's right out in front of us all the time, and yet we somehow miss it. It's like successful people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. It's just that simple. And
Mm-hmm.
it's your pain management skills. It's like, hey, you want to be a better carpenter? Well, build something, and along the way you're gonna figure it out. But still here again. This is the thing. It's like I don't think these concepts are taught uh, by every parent, and certainly they don't teach it in school, in my opinion.
No, no. School is the more and more I hear it, and the more and more I see it, the more and more I believe it. But the school is designed to create workers.
That's it. You're a battery.
Yep.
Because
You.
if you really wanted to teach somebody how to take care of themselves, um, I wrote up a program and I sent it to the last administration. And three different occasions, I never heard a word from them. But my whole idea is that you were going to create something called the Junior Apprentice Program. And in kindergarten, you were going to start a business. That's how you're going to start your education. One of your classes is going to be a business class through every year of your education. And when you're just starting off in kindergarten, you're going to open your business with the help of a retired business persons from your community. And those people are going to come in and teach that class and help everybody take a business from inception, and that business is going to follow them through every grade in their education and get more and more complicated, more and more, so the point where it's actually by the time they graduate high school, they would have a fully functioning business that they could either move into or they could sell it. And I thought, man, this would be really great because I could see, where you could have competitions state to state with different schools and things like that, where you could really have a lot going on. And you teach these kids how to take care of themselves, how to do finance, and how to take responsibility for their lives. But pff, there's no interest. There's no
No.
interest in it. So, and you have to think to yourself, you look at the educational system, you look at government and everything, it's the culmination, think about the accumulated knowledge that we have in this world, the millions of years of information, cumulative. We know how to do things if we really want to do it, but they don't want to, and you got to ask yourself why. Why don't they want smarter people going through the system? But they don't, because if they did, they would do things differently.
I agree with that. I uh, I had a thought and I think I lost it.
That's all right.
Um,
That'll happen more and more as you get older.
yeah. Um, oh man, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. It's getting to be that time.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we can we pretty much covered everything that I was wanting to get out there. I wanted to show the community because I know you have a presence on Discord, and part of the show's purpose, its reach is to go into and then show highlight the things that it's kind of like show and tell, I guess. But
all right.
hey, here's get to know your neighbor, your business partner, and see what they're up to, and it's just maybe a way to connect, with each other that doesn't exist to this
You
degree
know,
anyway.
I don't know if I said this out loud or if I just thought about it and thought said it out loud, but like if all else fails with Titano was successful because it did bring a lot of us together and to a community to help with something that we were all interested in, and whether the price goes up or down really never mattered to me to begin with. And then compounded after meeting, you and Austin and David and Summit and Paul and Cody and everybody that we've met so far. Like and Dex, like all of that, like that's worth something. That's still creating a community, and I sell that to the people around me and the physically around me too. Is like to me, community does it means a lot. It means a network. It means a friend when you need a friend. It means ideas. It means you know in a weird nice sense. It means security too because you have people around you that are like-minded that can also not be like-minded and tell you, hey, no, you're probably a little fucked up in the way you're thinking right now. like
Hmm.
um like it's that's valuable too.
Yeah.
um is my point.
Nope, it's great. I'm real impressed with Discord, the program. I'm also very impressed with the people that find themselves there. It seems like it's a really good system for um, a group effort.
Hmm.
For
And
sure.
it's working. It creates another avenue that another layer to an already complex system that's I would say was working.
Hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. You see what's happening on there right now. Actually, no,
Everything shut off on me.
no new announcements. I don't see anything.
It gets quiet sometimes.
Yeah, especially these days. It's not quite as maybe when things pick up though. It really picks up.
Maybe we need to spend more time on there.
You
or
know,
maybe
when it was really finding it difficult to be working at the same time. I had to put the phone down. It was getting kind of crazy, you know.
that I think that's my problem too at the moment is like now I'm going, for lack of a better term, balls deep into entrepreneurship, and like you said, both feet first. I think I'm folding into a V and just diving straight in with my head and my feet first.
Yeah,
um,
it's a good place to be. I mean, I think it's where you need to be to make it work because if it's not sink or swim, you're just not going to do what you need to do to
right,
survive. So, you can't have too many avenues of escape. Otherwise, you won't put into it what you need to.
right. Yeah.
It's my opinion.
Um, no, I agree. That was kind of something that was taught to me a little bit ago too. Yeah, is um, if you give yourself the option to quit, you might just be you're just telling yourself to quit.
Yeah,
Like you might,
you'll take it. You'll take it
yeah,
sooner or later.
yeah.
Sooner or
You'll
later.
if that's if the easy option is what's there. I mean, sometimes people do break and they just want that easy out.
I'll tell you, man, my biggest motivator is my family. It's like, so, anytime I ever start thinking like, I can't do this, I just start, first of all, I don't go down that road, but when I get tired, sometimes I do have to remind myself just like, hey, this is why I do it, and, that reason is the best reason in the world. For me, as, this man, uh, having my family uh, means everything. Like it's all the motivation to go all the way. That's what allows me to do it day after day. Because I think if I didn't have them, then I probably would. I would take the easy way, a much easier way anyway. I don't think I would. I know I wouldn't work nearly as hard as I do without them. So it provides a lot of. I think like family men actually have a large degree of what's the word I'm looking for? They've got something in their pockets like a secret weapon, and that secret
Mhm.
weapon is that they got to take care of their family, and so you've got that whole. I don't know. Some people will use the word obligation, but I don't think that quite fully describes it.
No,
It's a passion that you develop. Like you love your family. You're going to do everything you can to make sure that they're provided for, they're cared for, and there's failure is just out of the question. So
you're right.
it makes it easy, in my opinion. So I think
I
there's like an advantage for family guys. I think they have a slight edge, and maybe it's even more than slight.
The family and the people you love will make you'll move mountains.
Yeah.
I
Should we? That
I
seems like a good place to close out.
I agree. I agree.
What are you smoking over there? By the way, I see is that like a vape or something?
Yeah, it's a vape. I used it to quit smoking cigarettes.
Uh,
Um, yeah, it's just a 3 milligram vape juice
is
of
it
nicotine.
so like flavored it or anything? Like,
Yeah. It's like I go for the fruitier flavors because they taste nice and then my clothes don't smell bad. Um, but
what's that one?
that one it's called Pearl, but it's a mix of blueberry and strawberry.
Ah, uh,
Yeah, made by Cloud9.
I
They're
see.
uh they're an Oregon company.
Hmm. Did you ever get into like hand rolled cigars? Premium cigars while you were a smoker?
Yeah, yeah. We were funny enough is like like every once in a while we'll have a cigar night.
Hmm.
Um, but it's been few and far between. The last I don't know. We had the last one we had was probably back in March.
Uh, I like a good
Mm.
cigar.
Yeah, I can't say anything negative about them either.
Yeah, but it's like, but I have like maybe one a year, and sometimes I don't even have one. But I do enjoy. If I had somebody nearby that smoked them, I definitely would smoke them more.
Yeah. We were trying to do a cigar night like for the boys, like once a month.
Uh-huh.
and we were trying to do a game night, and like those things have kind of fallen through because we're finding more and more like trying to set up a date when everybody is,
Yeah.
in their life right now is hard to maintain.
Well, if you ever find your way out here, I'll make sure I have some stogies ready for us.
Roger that. I will find my way out there. Like I said, there's a whole list of things I need to do out there still. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you've definitely got I got a humidor right up over there. That's probably got about 50 cigars in it, and
wow.
there some of those are over 20 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well then I'll make sure that's a very special occasion that we're I'm on my way out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh,
All right, brother. Well, it's been really good catching up with you, and
you too.
look at we did 2.5 hours anyway.
Yeah, right.
My when I started doing this, I was like, oh man, I'm like, I got to try to make it 30 minutes somehow. I got to figure out how to make it to 30 minutes. I thought that was going to be the challenge. The challenge isn't that. The challenge is stopping this thing before 3 hours.
Well, especially when you find the conversations enjoyable, like you just kind of want to keep going. And
Yeah.
uh, I, bro, I love talking to you. Like it's. I haven't had a conversation yet with you where I was like, I could have done without that.
Yeah,
That's
well, hopefully that's that. Hopefully, that's something that I think that probably you wouldn't have said that if you would have known me 15 years ago. But
well,
you change, over time. That's the thing. So hopefully for the
the
better.
same could be said about me too. I was a real dickhead like 7, 8 years ago. Uh, Um, and especially coming out of the Marine Corps, and
Hmm.
you get a bit of a chip on your shoulder.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they want.
All right.
So and that's what they get.
Yeah. I've definitely calmed down and I've definitely learned a lot. And I've definitely had people like you and others that been in and out of in and around my life that taught me some lessons. And one of them was to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, that happens that naturally over time. But it's
Yeah,
like. But that piss and vinegar has a place too. So
it
you know.
it does. It does.
Hmm. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, you need it.
Yeah.
It's like gas.
I when I need it, I I try to do that kind of stuff early in the morning because I haven't had any nicotine and I haven't had any coffee, so all of the withdrawal symptoms are happening at that point,
Uh huh.
and that can just get me like that. And if I need to use it, that's when I'll use it. But
How long has it been since you had a cigarette?
ooh, I want to say 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
you're way past that then.
yeah, yeah. I originally I used the vaping to quit smoking, and when that was successful, I just never quit vaping. So I I do
Are,
need to do that, but I'm not ready to do that yet.
well, are there negative health aspects to vaping?
It's still so new that they're still trying to find out a lot of it, and they're so like, yes, I would say yes, because anything you inhale and into your lung and your respiratory system is not advised. I mean,
Hmm.
whether it be, I mean, even with all the health benefits that they're finding that marijuana has, like if you're inhaling it, it's still
Smoke.
yeah, it's still putting
It's
stuff in your lungs. Um, but the argument that I've been more in lately is it better for you than cigarettes? Just as bad, or is it possible that it's worse? And that hasn't been figured out yet.
Well, it might be worth figuring out.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah,
especially if it's worse. Gosh, you trade one bad habit for another one.
right.
That would
It is
suck.
definitely cheaper.
It,
um,
I can't even believe what people are paying for a pack of cigarettes, man. That blows my mind.
Yeah, in Washington, I think the last pack of cigarettes was like at like $7, $8, and once it got there, that was kind of like really what started my thought process on like I just need to get off of this stuff.
Hmm. I used to smoke too. I quit a long time ago, but it was hard to quit. I quit 100 times before I actually quit. Yeah, I was just disgusted finally. That's what needed to happen.
It is. It really is. And I didn't like the way I smelled, and everything smelled like an ashtray.
Yeah.
And then the things you tell yourself at the end of the day that make you not feel like you smell like an ashtray is even worse sometimes.
It really does stink bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And now, like, I'll be around a smoker. I'm like, man, I smelled like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, I don't judge them for it. Like, I know, but I,
Yeah. I'm so glad no one in my family smokes. Oof.
well, what's really messed up, and I get a lot of shit for, is I smoked, and my dad was a respiratory therapist.
Hmm.
Like,
Did he used to
and
get on your case?
no, because he smoked too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, that was a walking hypocrite there. But
Wow. It's crazy. Well, I mean, I understand. I enjoyed smoking, and that's why it was so hard to quit because I liked doing it,
hmm
and it just felt natural to me. I know it's crazy now thinking that I used to think that way, but I just felt like it was a natural extension of myself.
it's crazy what the like nicotine will do to your brain and make you think, and it's like I mean, it's still because I mean, I still have as small as it may be, like I still have an addiction to nicotine. So like, I
Hmm.
can feel myself getting, starting to get withdrawal symptoms and getting grouchier, and I can feel myself, feeling a little bit more lightheaded or more balanced at this point because it's been part of my life for so long. So it's,
Yeah,
quitting,
reach for a stick of beef jerky or a carrot.
right? Gum
Yeah.
or yeah, anything.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, boss. I guess we should probably try to back out of this again one more time before just
All
not
right.
say anything else so we don't keep dragging ourselves back in.
Roger that. And yeah, I do want to say one last thing, and the same thing goes for you. If you ever want to talk or bounce anything off, or just talk something through, I'm there for you too.
Well, I got your text, so we can. It's a lot easier. I like the text on the phone much more than the Discord. It's way faster.
Okay. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah,
Same.
so much easier. And I check my phone all the time, and I don't check the Discord all the time.
The same. So,
Well, all right, my friend. I'm really excited to see what this turns into. Keeping my fingers crossed, but it seems like you got your head screwed on right. So I'm sure your food truck's going to do all right.
we'll do it. We'll do it.
I'm
And
excited to hear about all about your hard work and long hours.
then I'm hoping to film some of it for you. That way you can
Yeah, that'd be
you can
great.
see.
That'd be great. All right, my
It'd be
friend.
kinda- All
Well,
righty.
tell your mom I said hi, and I wish her the best. Also, I really
We'll do.
hope you guys are able to work this out.
We will. We will. I have a lot more confidence, especially more than we had in the past, and I think it'll work out, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, my friend. I guess I'll check in with you tomorrow.
Roger that.
All right, friend. Take care.
Later. You too.